How are you fuckers doing tonight? Alex the Kid Seymour here, and this is the moment you've all been waiting for. Or, I suppose to be more accurate, it's a moment that some of you may have been waiting for. So, since I made my last video, I have had top surgery. I had it on June 14th, and it's now, been 5.5 weeks since my surgery. So, first things first, I'll show you the results. Nipples are healing pretty well, as you can see. My underarm incisions go up significantly higher than most people's do. That's because of my large weight loss and all the loose skin I had mainly. So, like, if you're worried about having gnarly underarm incisions, probably won't happen. But honestly, it's not that big of a deal. Okay, so I'm outside and this is the Albuquerque sun, so I probably shouldn't have my shirt off out here for too long. So just give me a second to put it back on. Alrighty. Okay. So now I've got some advice for you guys that are going to be having top surgery at some point. Now, I am still pre-testosterone, so that's the angle I'm coming at this from, just because that's my experience. Okay, so some of the sort of difficult things about top surgery are things that you wouldn't necessarily expect right away. Like, unless you had a really detailed conversation with someone. 1, sleeping. You won't be able to sleep on your back for some time. For the first week after my surgery, I had the drains that were coming out under my arms. Like, that's where the drain was, you can see under the incision. I had one of those on each side, so that prevents you at first from sleeping on your side, and then for a while it's just going to be too painful too. So that's one thing. Also, during the week when you have the drains, you can't shower at all. So, what I did to sort of deal with that, because, like, being clean is super important to me, I had my mom basically, she would put, like, a rain poncho on me that covered up everything, and then she would, like, wash my hair in the kitchen sink, basically, like when you're a little kid, So, if you have somebody that can do that for you, I 100% recommend it. It's a lot easier if you have someone to help you. So yeah, that's the second thing. Okay, the third thing, and this I was not expecting at all. Okay, so there is a lot of pain the first week. Now, I'm not going to go into a ton of detail about what the pain is like, because, like, honestly, that's different for everybody, but what I will tell you about is the pain meds. Okay, so they put me on Dilaudid, which is, like, pretty much the strongest opiate. So, while I was on the Dilaudid, I wasn't, like, all that aware of, like, the effects it was having on me. I knew that the pain wasn't bothering me that much, and I was able to sleep pretty consistently, even though I had to sleep on my back. But then, after the drains came out, I stopped taking the pills, and that was rough, because I suddenly became aware of every sensation that was happening in my chest, which was, like, a lot. I felt kind of like I was being mummified with barbed wire just around the chest region. my posture wasn't very good, and, like, I was just very aware of it all. But also the withdrawal effects were, like, messing with my head. So, like, I found myself getting, like, upset and feeling sort of, like, depressed and down, which was weird, because I expected this, like, immediate elation once I had my top surgery. But, like, that's not what it was like for me. There wasn't this, like, moment of elation. It was more like there were little moments of, like, minor sort of happiness, but I didn't really start to reap the benefits of my chest until I was 3 weeks out from surgery. Because first I had the drains, and the compression garment. Then I still had to wear the compression garment for another week, and I had sutures in me. Then I got the sutures out, and then it was still sort of like an intense week of healing going on. Once I hit that 3-week mark, at that point, like, emotionally, mentally, I was feeling kind of back to myself, but physically it was still, you know, pretty limiting. But, like, then at that point, it kind of just got easier each day. And, like, at this point, like, I'm aware of it, but it's kind of like a tattoo healing where it's, like, not that big of a deal. It's kind of annoying more than anything. So, like, that's where I'm at now. So I guess that's, like, the main thing, is that if you're expecting this, like, immediate moment of elation and it doesn't happen, like, that's okay, basically. Because, like, it'll happen. It just might take a while. Because it's hard to, like, really enjoy something that's causing you that much, like, physical pain. So, once I got to the point past that 3-week mark, where I was able to kind of, like, reap the benefits of my chest a little bit, like my favorite thing to do is, like, at night when the sun's not out, to just sit here in this patio, with my shirt off, listening to my iPod, and, you know, drinking Diet Pepsi. Or Diet Coke, I don't care. By the way, I officially am issuing a challenge to Donald Trump. If for some reason he happens to see this, I challenge him to a Diet Coke drinking duel. And if I fucking win, then he has to, make bathroom bills fucking illegal. So in other words, if I win, he has to allow all, you know, trans people to use the bathroom of their gender identity and not their birth gender. Anyway, tangent aside. Okay, so yeah, that's the main thing, is that, like, kind of curb your expectations, because, like, ultimately, like, I am thrilled. It just took a while to get there. Now, if your surgery is still coming up, so if you saw my last video, it was advice on backpacking abroad while trans. So for those first 2 weeks of June before my surgery, I was backpacking in Europe. And the reason I decided to do that was because I wanted to do something really sort of fun and physically strenuous, so I wouldn't really have time to be sitting around and, like, getting anxious about my top surgery. So I definitely recommend doing that to anybody who has top surgery coming up. Like I'm not, like obviously a lot of people don't have, like, money or time or whatever to, like, go backpacking in Europe, but I just recommend making it as fun and active for yourself as possible, because after you have surgery, you'll be basically, you know, sitting still and being in pain for, like, weeks. So even if you're the type of person that spends a lot of time kind of, like, at home, even if you're, like, a major homebody, don't be a homebody for the 2 weeks before your surgery, because you'll get hella cabin fever. So, like, even if it's little things, like, you know, you go to the park with, like, your friends and you shoot hoops every day or something, just something active and fun every day for 2 weeks before your surgery. And also, I recommend, in terms of the recovery process, I recommend starting to sort of bring the physical movement back to your life, like, as you can. So, like, for me now at this point, that means going on these, like, little sort of short walks. Like, you can't expect to be doing, like, everything, you know, right away, because your body needs time to heal. And, like, I guess that's one thing that I also sort of wasn't expecting, because, you know, I read in so many places, expect to go back to work after 2 weeks, or, like, 4 to 6 weeks if you do something physically strenuous. Well, I think that may be realistic for some people, but certainly not for all people. And, like, especially if, like, you know, you have other, like, physical limitations on your body, like illnesses, disabilities, anything like that. Like, this is a strenuous thing. It's an intense thing that your body is going through. It's not something that people talk about enough. I think because a lot of guys are just so thrilled to get to have top surgery that, like, they almost don't want to, like, they almost feel guilty, like they seem ungrateful or something if they talk about the negative sides of it. But, like, we need to be honest for the sake of, you know, transparency. Okay, I'm off that soapbox now. I'll keep you updates as I'm healing more. I'll keep giving you updates as I'm healing more. Cheers and good night, fuckers.